Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far and welcome to today's video where I'm going to be sharing all of Pat McGrath's incoming imminent holiday collection for 2024, all of the details, all of my thoughts, what I plan to pick up and whether I think you should grab this or skip it altogether. Without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so yesterday, the 19th of September, Pat McGrath dropped her holiday collection reveal for 2024, and some of us were quite surprised because wasn't there supposed to be a Mothership before we did holiday? Usually in Pat McGrath's annual calendar, we get the Mothership sort of late on in summer, typically like July, August. And then a good while after that, maybe a month or so later, we typically get her holiday collection. So it looks as though we might not be getting a Mothership this year, which is very, very sad. A lot of us were very disappointed, very sad to see the holiday collection reveal and not a Mothership, because I guess it means that we aren't getting one this year. She could launch it later. I really hope she does, because for most of us, that's what we're here on Pat McGrath heaven for. You know, it is her most popular product. It's kind of what she's known for. So I really hope we're still going to get one. I still just hope, I'm clinging on to my threads of hope that it's just going to be later. She's just swapped the order around. We're going to get the holiday collection and then maybe around Christmas time, New Year's, we'll get a Mothership. Please. So we can now see all of her holiday products live on her website. I will share the prices that are currently shown on the product. As we know, we've learned our lessons. These will most likely change and go up a few pounds each, because it seems like always with Pat McGrath, when she initially puts her products on her website, they don't include VAT. So when they go live, they will typically be a few pounds more than they are shown before the products went live. But we also know that there will be a 10% discount code. If you sign up for her VIP early access, which is like an hour before the regular launch, you will also get a 10% discount code. So the likelihood is you'll just pay a few pounds more for each of these items than the prices that are currently showing on her website. So we don't as yet have a launch date, but typically the way that Pat McGrath goes is that she will reveal the collection and then she'll leave a few days for us to sign up for alerts. But typically her collections go live on a Friday. That's not always, but very commonly they go live on a Friday. So my best guess is that these will launch next Friday on the 27th, but it could be in the week, it could be any day now. So be ready, be prepared, make your choices, pick the products that you want to go for so that you don't panic buy everything and end up with products that you don't really want or need. You just bought them because you panicked. And we all know what Pat McGrath launches can be like. That being said, this entire collection is limited edition, but I really do not expect anything to sell out in a couple of hours like they used to. A few years ago with Pat McGrath collections, particularly holiday collections, particularly limited edition collections, they could sell out in minutes. You had to be sat on the website and you had to check out in a moment, not even a minute, a moment flat, or the products would disappear out of your cart. I think those days are gone. For now, we hope they don't come back. But I think you'll be fine. Waiting till payday, I think you'll be fine. I can't guarantee anything. Obviously, I don't know how much stock she has. I don't know what the interest will be in reality when it comes to launch day. But I also imagine these will come to retailers. You may even get to wait for a sale, but obviously there's no guarantees when it comes to limited edition products. So it's good to be prepared, and that's why we're going to look at it early. And I'm going to give you my recommendations, my thoughts, and share what I'm going to be picking up. So kicking us off, the big mother. This is the Luminous Legends Mega Eyeshadow Palette. So slightly different name. We've moved away from the Mothership Mega and now we just have the Mega Eyeshadow Palette. And it is quite different layout wise to her previous holiday collections. Last year, the Bijou Brilliance collection, we got eyeshadows with cheek products in there as well. This year, we've gone back to just eyeshadows in the Mothership Mega, which I like. And we've got a gorgeous evenly spaced, no wasted space, no jaunty angles, a perfectly aligned, symmetrical array. So we have 15 shadows in here, more than last year because there were only 9 in those larger palettes because the blushes were taking up space. We previously had 18, you know, in this one, and also I think this was the year before when again we had them evenly spaced and not the horror show in that previous palette. So we have more shadows than we had in the Bijou Brilliance collection because there were only 9 in there as the blushes were taking up some room, but in previous years to that the Mothership Megas had 18 shadows, so we're kind of moving back towards that number. And there is 16 grams of product in this palette. So I will say I haven't obviously got my hands on this yet, but it is highly likely that this will be cardboard packaging, the lighter packaging, and that it will be US made formulas because Pat Mcgrath's holiday collection is always USA made instead of her Italian formulas that we see in her motherships, and it's always the more affordable cardboard packaging. So I know that people prefer her Italian formula, and I know that people prefer her black luxe mothership packaging, but this is a significant price drop. You know, there are 10 shades in a mothership for £120. We've got 15 in here for probably about £74. So there is a significant price reduction with those two differences. So I do think she's always sort of targeted her holiday collection to a more affordable, not affordable, but more affordable than her mothership audience. You know, she wants to give people who want a lot of her shadows and her products without paying the £120 mothership price tag. And I like that she does that. I think it's nice that we have different price points and people can try her products for a smaller price tag than they typically are. Now it's interesting because in the description of this palette on Pat's website, it says a variety of textures from soft mattes and sparkling astrals to gleaming metallics. So that description kind of says that there's astral shades in here, which is hard to tell just from looking at them, but none of them have an astral shade. And typically when she has an astral shade in a mothership, it's called, you know, Blitz Astral. They usually have the word astral in the name, and there's no shadows here with the word astral. So I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to know whether we have actually any astral or special shades in this palette, because I don't think we do, especially not if it's US made, but the description is leading me to believe that perhaps we do. I love the look of this palette. I will definitely be picking this up. Whether or not I review it early will all depend on how long it takes to get here, because if it takes 3 or 4 weeks like it easily can do very often, then I'll have moved on with my life, and I'm sure you will have also. But if it arrives quickly, then of course I will review it for you. But I think this looks beautiful. I love that we've got a real mix, but everything also looks really quite wearable at the same time. I like the balance of the mattes. We haven't got too many mattes, you know, with Pat, everybody just wants her shimmers and her sparkly shadows, but I like that we've got enough mattes and a varying sort of depth to use and make looks that you won't sort of need to reach for anything else. I like that. What I will say about this one is if you have a lot of her mothership palettes, if you only want something super different and exciting and colourful, if you essentially cover 3 shadows in here, this looks like every mothership for the last 3 or 4 years, every mothership mega for the last 4 or 5 years. It's kind of misleading us into thinking it's super exciting and new and different and colourful just by the addition of those 3 shades out of 15. The rest are pretty neutral. You know, there's pinks, of course, there's golds and bronzes, which is what we are always saying we've had enough of, Pat. We want something different. So don't be fooled into thinking this is super different and super exciting and super colourful, because actually if you just block out those 3 shades, it is very much along the same lines of what we've been getting from Pat for many years now. But to me, for the way I do makeup, I think this is a great palette that I will get a lot of use out of, and it's got enough fun in there for me to play around if I'm in the mood, which I rarely am, but it's also got a lot of shadows in there that I will just enjoy and are right up my street and are very wearable for me. So this is a yes, but if you're looking for something super colourful, it might not quite hit the mark. So currently that is listed at £71. I expect it to be more so 74, 75. Next up, we have two Luminous Legends eyeshadow £5. So we have Dawn Divinity, which is this very pretty, very wearable sort of rose gold mashup. And then we have the more maybe exciting different variety, which is Starfall Seduction. So both of these are £5. They are currently marked at £36, so expect them to be closer to 40 on launch day. These have 4 grams of product, and they state that they have metallics, luminous shimmers, and ultra soft velvet mattes. Again, highly likely to be the US formula and cardboard packaging, which we can see there. Only two £5 is quite surprising for me. Actually, overall, this collection from Pat is quite a bit smaller than we have seen in previous years, which is interesting. You know, we had 4 £5 last year, plus 2 of the larger mixed palettes, eye and cheek. So overall, this collection is definitely quite a bit smaller, but both of these £5 are a pass from me. I feel like Dawn Divinity, which is one that is the sort of eyeshadow that I like and would wear, is very similar to what we've seen in previous years. And I have quite a lot of these £5 over the years. This is nothing new to me, nothing that I especially want or need or don't already have in my collection. So both of the £5 are an easy pass for me. And I imagine for most of you, if you have shopped these holiday collections from Pat Mcgrath previously, or you've shopped her Bridgerton collections, if we're being really honest, we have seen these colour stories and these shadows before. They're very similar. They're sort of similar shades that we've got in lots of her Motherships. I think anyone can easily pass on these. However, if you don't have a lot of Pat Mcgrath and you're thinking this might be your first little dip into her brand and into her products, then of course you might feel much differently about them. These are likely to be around the £40 mark, which is a decent price point, but only 5 shadows. So I really feel like you'd be better off just going for the larger palette and having a lot more shadows for your money. But of course, everyone's budget is different and how much you're willing or wanting to spend. So that does offer you, you know, that middle price point. So next up, we have these duos, which are something new. We haven't seen duos in her holiday collection before. Typically she does a big Mothership and then some £5. So I love that she's included these. Again, a smaller price point. I think probably the least value for money, because at £24, again, likely to be more like £26, £27. For 2 shadows, that's getting quite expensive. You know, if you buy a couple of these, you're only going to have 4 shadows and you're over halfway to the price point of the larger palette. So these aren't so great with the value for money. So we have 3 of these. We have Petalic Passion, which is this gorgeous rose gold combo. We then have Celestial Jade, which is the green gold. And then we have Astral Noir, which is this black and very yellow gold combo. So I think these will be big sellers, not least because they have the smallest price point and a lot of people just want something small. It's a great stocking filler. It's a lower price point, albeit the value for money is really not there. But I think these will be very popular. I plan to pick up 2 of these, the rose gold and that green duo. The green is definitely the most exciting to me. If I had to guess what would sell out first, or what would sell the most quickly and be the most popular, I would put my money on this green duo. I think we've been crying out for greens from Pat Mcgrath. It's probably one of her most neglected shades that she doesn't have very often, certainly not in Motherships. So I feel like people will really jump all over these. I think the price point is lower. You get a couple of shadows that are really usable and wearable, and you can kind of pick something without having a load of shadows that you won't use. So I think these will sell quickly, particularly that green duo. You better move quickly if you want one of those. I certainly plan to. The rose gold combo, not that exciting. I certainly have shades like it, but it's really pretty, easy for travel. And I can see myself really enjoying that. But that green gold combo, I think for me, is the pick of this whole collection. If you told me, arm behind my back, I'm only allowed to choose one item, that's what I'd choose. And then we have a couple of lip sets, and these are nothing new. Everything in here is like re-promoted. We have a mini lip gloss duo. The shades in here are Flesh 6 and Nude Venus. That will set you back probably on launch day £30 for previously existing lip glosses. If you didn't need them before, you don't need them now. And then we have a mini matte trance trio of lipsticks, again, all previously existing shades. We have Fever Dream, Forbidden Love, and Beautiful Stranger in that trio. Again, this is going to set you back close to £40 for previously existing lip shades that if you didn't need then, you still don't need now. So on top of the standalone products here, I do expect a whole bunch of bundles or sets to launch on launch day along with the individual products, because Pat always does bundles and they do represent a really good value saving. So if you want a couple of items, make sure you log on launch day and check for bundles, because she quite often does this where she doesn't put all of the bundles on the website until it launches, and sometimes they're actually not available until like half an hour or so after the rest of the collection has launched. So keep an eye on that, because you can save quite a lot of money with those bundles if you already planned to pick up multiple items. I can't see them that yet. There's only one bundle showing, which is the eyeshadow duo with an eyeliner. So check for bundles before you check out if you are grabbing multiple items, because they usually do have a decent saving attached to them. And that appears to be everything that we're getting from Pat McGrath for holiday 2024. And I'm quite surprised. It's a much smaller collection, I would say, than usual, and no cheek products, which I find very interesting. You know, last year's collection, the Bijou Brilliance collection, she had 2 large palettes which had cheek products in there. I think they had 2 blushes, and then she did 3 trios of cheek products, which were a bronzer, blush and highlight in each for different skin tones. That's the only item I picked up from last year. I got one of the cheek trios and I love it. It's such a great travel product. I take it with me all the time. You can use it on eyes and cheeks. I love those, and I really wish she had come out with more of those trios or even duos, you know, blush and highlight, or bronzer and blush, or bronzer and highlight, but in new shades. I think that would have been such a great addition to her holiday collection and offering, and she hasn't given us any new blush, highlight, bronzer shades for a very long time. So I'm surprised we didn't get some kind of cheek products, and I'm really sad because I really like a good cheek palette. I think it makes a great holiday collection item, a great gift, and I just love a good cheek palette. So I am a bit sad that we don't have any cheek products in here. It's time we had new blush shades. It's time we had new highlight shades. A lot of the shades in the Bijou Brilliance collection cheek-wise were, you know, re-promoted shades, previously existing shades. So I would have loved to have seen some new quads, maybe with a bronzer, highlight, a couple of blushes in all new shades. I think those would have been really big sellers. So I think that's a mistake, and I think it's disappointing because I just love a cheek palette, and I would have loved to have seen some new colours from Pat McGrath. Overall, I think I have quite an unpopular opinion about this Pat McGrath collection, because I am really excited about it. I'm really excited about the larger palette. I think it looks beautiful. I'm excited that it's something I would use a lot, and it's quite, you know, different for me. I'm very, very boring. I use very, very neutral eyeshadows 99% of the time. So I like that we've got some fun, pretty different shades in there, but a lot of usable everyday shades that I will enjoy. And I feel like I'll get a lot of use out of that. I like the layout of it. It's not all higgledy-piggledy. There's not big gaps between the shadows. It's a nice number, cohesive colour story with lots of options. So I really like that, and I love the duos. I was really excited when I saw the green gold combo, because that is right up my street, super pretty, and I was excited for that. The rest of it I can certainly live without, but the reaction online when I posted these pictures of the collection when it first was shown to us was overall very negative. You know, a lot of the comments on my post were saying this is very boring, I'll be passing, nothing here interests me whatsoever. And I don't think overall the collection is boring. I think it's quite different, colourful. I think we've got lots of options, something for everybody. But what I think people are bored by is this feels very repetitive from Pat McGrath's holiday collection specifically. So it's not that this is all boring neutrals necessarily. I think what's boring people is that the holiday collection looks very samey each year. You know, when we look at the previous larger palettes and we look at these colours, how different is it really? Especially if you look at the 5 pans and the duos, you know, we have seen all of this before, but I'm just not really sure how different we could be, honestly, at this point. It seems like people are also quite disappointed that it is likely to be the US formula and that it is cardboard packaging, but that has always been the case for Pat McGrath Holiday. She does lower her prices and lower with that some of the quality and the materials to achieve that lower price point. So I'm okay with that. I feel like this is just sort of a different, almost like a sub-brand from Pat McGrath. She has her main luxury line and then she has her more affordable cardboard USA line, and it's kind of like two different mini brands within itself, if that makes sense. So I'm happy with this. I wish, like I said, there were cheap products, and I feel like she really could have gone to town there and done very well with that, and I think we would have really loved that. But overall, I do feel like if you've shopped her holiday collections several times in the past, you could most likely skip this entire collection and not really miss out on anything particularly new or exciting. So there you have it. That is all of the info that we have so far on Pat McGrath's holiday collection for 2024, along with all of my thoughts and what I plan to grab. So for me, it's the main big daddy eyeshadow palette and 2 of the duos, and that's me done. Please let me know, what are you interested in of this collection? Are you skipping it all together? Are you interested in a couple of bits? Are you getting everything? Please let me know in the comments section down below. But thank you so much for joining me here today. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and I would love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.